So there's a couple more things here. Riley has a really good note in that budget gamers frustrated by more freaking high-end cards are certainly justified in being frustrated. I mean, totally. It's very clear from the launch of, what is it? The RX 6600. What's the mobile? Yeah, the RX 6600 mobile that AMD just launched. It's clear that AMD had a mainstream GPU that was developed, and they just, never released a desktop product based on it because, clearly if they have a limited amount of silicon, they were better off just producing their higher end products. Yeah, and I'm sure NVIDIA was ready to rock with replacements for the 1600 series and 1650 series the 1600 series as well. But I mean, at that point, yeah, you can be mad. But from a business standpoint, I also understand if you can't even meet the demand for your RTX 3090s, why are you releasing more products? And that's something that we've said before. In this case, it's a product that seems to be designed to alleviate the supply issues as opposed to do anything else. So in terms of market positioning, the 3080 Ti is a less expensive 3090, and that makes it a great deal if you were a potential 3090 buyer. But, and this is another Riley note, the question is who was asking for this? Yeah, that's a great question, and I can see why people are mad. But I'm also standing behind what we said. For that particular buyer, the fact that there's going to be more of them than there were 3090s, which will help you get your hands on that level of performance at hopefully a lower price at MSRP instead of from a scalper, is a good deal. So to be clear, I'm not saying Hardware Canucks was wrong. I'm not saying that Gamers Nexus was wrong. Actually, Gamers Nexus was wrong about one thing. The idea that scalper prices are just derived from MSRP and based on it. Yeah, it just doesn't work that way. But I'm not saying Gamers Nexus or Hardware Unboxed was wrong about it, being a money grab or not being a good deal.
And I don't think to put words in his mouth, which I could even be wrong about. I don't think he's saying you should be happy about it necessarily either.
Me?
It's just probably not for you.
It's not for you.
Yeah.
And for the people that it's it's fine.
There's been a really weird normalization. Like, I feel like when I was first building computers, the cards that people were really excited about from the NVIDIA side, their numbers are easy to follow, were like the 60s and 70s.
Yep. Yeah, 6600 GT, that was a good card.
That was a sweet card. I don't know. Its timing wasn't exactly the greatest, but I remember being super excited about my 2060, and I rode that thing out for like 4 years.
Yeah.
And I think
there's been a lot of hype.
Did I say 2060? I meant 260. Yeah, sorry.
2060 wasn't a great bang for the buck.
No, and I never had one. I had a 260, and I rode that out for a long time, and it was great. And I remember a new Battlefield came out. I don't remember which one it was. I'm sorry, but a new Battlefield came out, and it was like starting to get to the point where I was like, all right, this is a little rough. And then I finally upgraded. I think there's this culture going around right now where you have to run everything at ultra, and you have to get 120 FPS. Which, like, those things are great. Don't get me wrong. Fantastic. Love the experience. But when you can't do it, like, you don't need to break your bank for it. It's okay. You'll be all right. You'll live. You're probably just playing like League of Legends anyways, just to be completely honest. Like, I don't know. You almost certainly don't need this. And if you do, yeah, it sucks that you're buying during a scalping pandemic silicon shortage mixture of horribleness. And that's about it.
Jonathan in the YouTube chat says, this passive aggressiveness and grandstanding is so damn annoying sometimes. Everything you are accusing others of, you did or are doing now. I don't see, the thing is, I don't know how to respond to that. Like, I don't shape the reality, right? And I'm not being passive aggressive. I'm being extremely forthright with y'all. I'm telling you, look, this is what it is. There's a shortage. These are business decisions. This is why they made them for that particular buyer at the high end of the market, which still has not had its demand satisfied. It's a good deal. For a value buyer, Yeah, it's a bad deal, but you weren't the customer.
It's not a value card.
It's not a value card. And I mean, honestly, something that's been really frustrating for me as part of Verified Actual Gamer program is every single participant, okay, every single one of them, I have asked, hey, can we do something more mainstream? Can we do a 1650 or a 1660? Can we do something that's actually affordable? And every single one of them has come back and said, I can't get you any allocation of that. And you can absolutely be furious about it. 100%. It just has nothing to do with the 3080 Ti. Oh man, this is hilarious. Do you remember that Luke was wrong, like sort of meme thing?
Yeah, yeah.
Do we need to do a Linus was wrong shirt? Like, if people are gonna call me like, it's amazing the accusations that I get anytime someone doesn't agree with me. It's like Linus is on the take from NVIDIA.
He's being paid off by this group or this group.
I am hardly on speaking terms with anyone who wears a green name tag right now.
Yeah, I'm partially, not partially. I'm a little surprised people forget that. That wasn't even that long ago. Like this is recent news. The like war between LTT and NVIDIA. And I can tell you something right now. Linus is not about to necessarily work to fix that. Like he's going to stand by his words, and but he's also not going to say that something that they do is like horrible when it's not.
Swapode says, come on, it's like you guys aren't even listening. I'm sorry, I don't know how to deal with this. NVIDIA hasn't sold an enthusiast card at MSRP for well over 4 years. Don't just blame the pandemic. NVIDIA is not a manufacturer.
That was at least a quarter of this whole conversation.
That's a really, really important point. NVIDIA is not a manufacturer. The MSRPs are ultimately set by the manufacturers of the cards, and they are based on external factors, like what their costs are, whether there are tariffs. It is what it is. Like
Is it expensive? Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But top-end GPUs have always been expensive. They've always been expensive. What was the price of the stupid GTX 690?
Ooh.
I forget.
Ooh. I remember that being astronomical. I don't remember right now.
It was,
and to be clear, it might not sound that high before he says it. It might not even sound that high, but things constantly scale.
Yeah, so it was a grand. It was a grand back in the day. And the stupidest thing about it was that it performed worse than two 680s. And because it was clocked lower, because it was a dual card, it just made no sense. But you gotta understand, whether something makes sense is always within the context of the time that it was released. The 690 made no sense because you could get two 680s, so at the cost of just having a couple more PCI Express slots taken up, you could get better performance by just getting two 680s. But the reason that the 3080 Ti does make sense is that in the context of this time, if you can get it at MSRP, it's probably the best deal you're going to get. And I'm sorry, and that sucks. And we really are actually doing something about it. We're trying. Verified Actual Gamer program has put cards in gamers' hands at MSRP. We did everything we possibly could. We started a computer hardware store. Like, what else can I possibly do? I can whine about it. I can walk out of a press conference. Do you think NVIDIA cares if I walk out of their press conference? They literally don't I sent an email saying, hey, thanks. It was really refreshing that you guys were super straightforward in your manner of communication over various aspects of this launch. Because NVIDIA, we have a long history of them basically playing cloak and dagger games is what I tell them. I say, look, it's enough with the cloak and dagger. Just stop and just communicate clearly. I've said it on many occasions. And so I was really pleased that they were just forthright in their communication for a change. And I didn't even get a response. Straight up, didn't even get a reply. Don't imagine for a second that I'm somehow on NVIDIA's payroll here or that I'm somehow cozy with NVIDIA. That's actually not the way it works. Anthony attended the briefing. I don't know. I just don't know what else to say to people sometimes. Go have your conspiracy theory, right? Like, there's nothing that I can say to make you believe me, I think.
And that's ultimately it. They're not, it's, yeah. The horde as a whole is not going to care or listen. They're just mad. And they're mad that the thing is expensive. Rar, thing too much, don't want to pay. Yeah, that's fine. But it's not for you, dude. Like, you don't have to build blinged out systems. Build blinged out systems on PC Part Picker. It's really fun. I used to do it all the time. Spend way too much money on PC Part Picker, but don't check out.
ZY says Linus's argument is deceitful because he's ignoring the performance of the 3080 non-Ti. Your argument is deceitful because you are ignoring the real world pricing of the 3080 non-Ti. The 3080 non-Ti is not available for $699 US. Go buy one then. Good luck.
And to be clear, he doesn't even just mean because of scalpers. Like, it's not available for that anywhere. You can't buy that from a store either.
So it is what it is. Like, I understand this is having a huge impact on people's enthusiasm for computer hardware. Like, we see it. Like, we see it in the sentiment in our community. But this is beyond our control. Matthew Way gets it. There's nothing robbery about buying a luxury product. Yeah, it's not a good value, but nobody's forcing you to buy it.
And I think the price is silly, and we've laughed at luxury products on the show before, and that's not something that will necessarily change. But yeah, they're really expensive. That's part of it's part of it.
I mean, as part of our, oh man, I don't want to get back on this topic, but as part of our script review for that video, Anthony and I went on eBay and we took a variety of GPUs, 2080 Ti's, 2080s, 3080s, 3070s, and we went through and we went, okay, what is the actual real world street price for these things?
I think,
and compared to those, it's a great deal.
Something that hit me more, to be honest, and I knew this already, but I still is not even the scalped eBay prices, but what they're actually being sold at stores versus Nvidia's stated price. Like, that difference is quite huge.
Apparently Gamers Nexus is in the chat. Gamers Nexus, no one needs to upgrade every generation. Only when your current card is starting to fall behind. You know what? Yeah. That's a really interesting conversation. You know, talking about how outraged people are about 3080 Ti. When I'm looking at it going, how many people are really buying top tier graphics cards anyway? Is part of it just that people are getting like pulled along in this FOMO, I
feel like yeah.
Just kind of
there's a lot of
losing track, you know?
Yeah.
Like just like losing the plot here. Like I went 3 years or something like that without upgrading the GPU in my primary rig. Not because I can't afford it, not because I can't just literally pluck one off a shelf at work and bring it home, but because I didn't need it. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You don't have to have the fastest GPU. Apparently, no, that's a fake Steve. All right. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought it was a real Steve. Wait, no, fake Steve. That's not fake Steve. There's it's the verified checkmark fake? I don't think so. There's a fake Gamers Nexus in here. Ignore that one. So, no, real Steve is actually here. I just don't know which Steve I'm talking to right now. Oh, no. Oh, no. The Kazragor says, my biggest gripe with the 3080 Ti is they're focusing on the top end rather than releasing more low-end products that could produce far more units per wafer. That is totally a fair observation. 100%. Yep. The reality of it was, though, is that a 3080 Ti was never going to be that. So we reviewed the 3080 Ti as a 3080 Ti, but I think that's a really good point that we could have brought up is, yeah, sure, but where is a 3050? Yep, that's a really, really, really good point. Ethan says, talked to my friends in 3D Art. They all said they're going 3090 or would settle on a 3080, but that the 3080 Ti makes no sense for the price. Well, I actually just totally don't really get that. If they're in 3D Art, then yeah, sure, go 3090 because you need that VRAM. But I don't really see how the 3080 figures into it at all, especially because
if you need the VRAM, that's weird.
You can't actually get it for the MSRP. So the difference in price between the 3080 and the 3080 Ti is only a theoretical difference in price, the way that most people are talking about it. It's not real world. Sten Sturbin says, does MSRP matter for AMD? They have exactly the same pressures on them. Like their cards are also like, okay, sure. So the MSRP, here, let's play a little game. Let's play a little game called Buy the RX. Hold on a second. Radeon RX 6900 XT. Okay, we're going to play this game. So the MSRP for this card is $999 US. Okay, that's nice. That's not what they cost. And even at these prices, they're not in stock. You got to go all the way up to $2,700 to actually add one to your cart. Am I happy about this? Is this good? No. But in the context of that pricing for the 6900 XT, the 3080 Ti looks pretty good. Like, what do you guys want from me? All right. Jesse says, my Gigabyte Eagle 3080 Ti doesn't fit in my case. Anyone have a Founders Edition to trade me? This is really not the right place for that message, Jesse. Good luck, though. Oh, man. Oh, man. Jack Meyer says, Luke must have been gaslit before this segment. Linus seems to be defending NVIDIA and trashing Gamers Nexus, which is a wild take.
I love Steve. I don't know. Steve's freaking fantastic. Gamers Nexus is fantastic. I don't think Linus was trashing them either. I don't think that's how that went at all.
No, they said you trashed them. Oh, no, Linus seems to be trashing. Oh, no, they said I trashed. I trashed Steve, apparently.
Yeah, I was going to be like, hold on, wait a second. So I don't think Linus trashed Steve. I didn't get to hear literally a word that Steve said due to the mic setup, but I'm assuming there wasn't like a fight there. Like, that's not the conversation that's going on. That Linus mentioned earlier in the show, a lot of times when someone points out like, oh, this person's a shill, it's very often, not always, but very often because the person saying that is a fanboy and that paints their vision. And I think that might be happening here. There's a disagreement in how things went, but there isn't a fight. I don't like that the thing is so expensive, but I understand why, and it's not for me, and it's probably not for you. And that's like its whole own conversation, right? Like, I don't care if a Louis Vuitton bag is $50,000. I genuinely have no clue whatsoever how much they cost because I don't care. It's not for me. It doesn't matter. I do care if backpacks for some reason. No, I don't. I don't buy backpacks. I have the same backpack for like 11 years.
That I gave you for free. Yeah. You're so cheap.
So maybe that doesn't really count. But like, I do care if something that I generally buy and which is basically always going to be a value for dollar purchase. Not necessarily always, but basically always. I do care if that thing goes up in price. And that sucks. And we've talked about that with graphics cards in the past because that's happened. There's been generational jumps that are much more than inflation. And we've pointed it out and been unhappy about it.
Yep. In this case, I don't think it is. They took their top end part, they replaced it with a different top end part that is cheaper. So yeah, we already said the 3090 is not a great deal, but in the context of the current market, the 3080 Ti is looking pretty good. I didn't make the rules for that.